So, welcome everybody to the Pursue Your Spark podcast. I have a special guest today, my friend Arja Pirinen. And I'd like to welcome Arja to the show today. Arja is the co-owner of Nordica Quiropraxica y Pilates in Buenos Aires, Argentina. She is a tango teacher at DNI Tango. She teaches private yoga classes. She also is a Pilates teacher trainer for Alves Pilates of Chile and currently teaches in 3 languages, Spanish, English, and Finnish. Arja has chosen a very different lifestyle for herself. She went from being comfortable to uncomfortable and has overcome her fears of starting something new. So today's show is called, inspired by Arja, What Was I Thinking? So welcome to the show, Arja.
Thank you very much. And I want to say bienvenidos al podcast con Heike. Vamos a hablar un poquito de mi vida, mi trabajo y otras cosas que me inspiran en la vida. And the same in Finnish.
Wow, awesome.
Tervetuloa Heiken podcastiin. Tulemme juttelemaan jonkun verran minun elämästä, työstä ja asioista, jotka inspiroivat minua.
That sounds like really fantastic. And guys, I asked
Yes.
Arja to do that for us because she is fluent in all 3 languages. I mean, clearly because she teaches in those languages and is a teacher trainer. But I thought it would be so fun to welcome our Spanish-speaking audience and the Finnish as well. So that was fabulous. I love it. So thank you for being here. So I thought it would be so fun to share your life with my listeners because it is very different for women at our ages. And you said I could reveal your age.
Yes.
Is that still good? So Arja is 62. And when you think of, and I'm 57, when you think of somebody at our age, you think a little bit more of an established lifestyle, having kids and perhaps already grandkids. But Arja's lifestyle is very different. And I want to start with, how did your journey start living in all those 3 countries? Because you used to live in Finland.
Yes, I grew up in Finland and I have a business degree from Finland. So about a year after graduation, I got a job at the Finnish embassy in Washington, D.C. And that was just a 4-year assignment. But after that, I won in the State Department lottery, the green card.
So how does it work with the green card? How do you win it?
Well, they had a lottery for countries, mainly for like European countries and I think South America, people who otherwise had hard time getting into the States. And there was a quota per country. And I sent a letter that I was interested in applying for an immigrant visa for United States, and I won.
Really?
And so then, after the embassy, I found interesting work and I could work legally because I had a green card. So that's how I ended up staying for over 30 years.
So over 30 years, just like I have been here. And you probably never looked back, but you also started your fitness journey because that's how you and I met, through Pilates.
Yes.
At a Pilates convention. How did that all start? So you worked at the embassy and then what happened?
Washington, D.C. There I started taking ballet, modern, jazz, Afro jazz. And then I had a foot surgery. So no more dancing for a while. So I went to the gym and that's how I got into personal training, eventually Pilates, yoga. And then now I've been doing this full time for about 20 years.
Yeah, because I see you also traveling for a lot of workshops around the world. Suddenly you're in Spain at some workshop and
Yes.
It's really a lot of fun. So we met through Pilates, and you not only kept Pilates and training in your repertoire, but you also added yoga. And I know you dabbled a little bit in gyrotonics as well.
Yeah, gyrokinesis.
Gyrokinesis.
I'm certified in gyrokinesis. I studied with a teacher from Brazil in the States, and then I did my certification in Germany.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So, okay, let's go back. You came from Finland and you landed in Washington, D.C., and you're all pumped just like I was. We're here in D.C. It's fantastic. But then something was not quite right for Arja. She started falling in love with tango.
Oh, yes.
And
I started probably about 10 years ago. I started taking tango lessons. I had danced salsa and all these other dances before. And I said, tango seems like a new challenge. And I said, I wonder if I could do that. And so I started taking lessons in DC. And then where do you go to study with the great teachers? You go to Buenos Aires.
Yes.
And so then I started coming here to Buenos Aires to study. And every year the trip got a little bit longer. And so I started working. I started teaching yoga and Pilates, first in English and then in Spanish. And that allowed me, of course, also, financially to stay longer. And so that's how it went.
Yeah. So then as I remember, you suddenly started living in Buenos Aires and you settled down, but you now divide your time between Argentina, the US, and Finland.
Yes.
So how do you make all this work time-wise with friends and all that?
Work and all that.
Yeah. And all that.
I'm here more than anywhere else because I do have a business. So I'm here probably about 10 months a year. And then the rest of the time in the States and in Finland. And here I have very good substitute teachers because I trained them.
Yeah.
I trained them. They are teachers who took Pilates courses with me. And so they usually cover for me. So my clients are very happy. And then in the States, if I stay long enough to teach, I usually plan ahead. I contact the gyms, the yoga studios where I worked before. And since I'm usually in DC in July or August, that's a good time for substitute teachers. Almost everybody is on vacation, so they need help. So that's how I end up teaching in DC. In Finland, I usually teach tango workshops.
Oh.
Just a few workshops, and then the rest of the time is vacation with family because all my family is in Finland.
Yeah. Do they miss you?
Yes, but they've also come here to visit.
Oh, how nice! Because my family is literally never coming here to visit. They always think I should come to Germany and spend all my money and time with them. So there's not a lot of reciprocation as far as that is concerned.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, my family actually would like me to move to Spain because I now teach in Spanish, because they would have a new vacation location much closer than Argentina.
Sneaky people, Europeans always know a good vacation spot when they see one.
Yes.
So what made you, I'm curious, what made you want to become a teacher trainer? And how difficult was it for you to get started there? Well,
it was actually, I needed credit hours for the Pilates Method Alliance certification renewal. And there was a course here in Argentina, not very far from Buenos Aires, about 4 hours away. And there was a course that had PMA hours.
Which is Pilates Method Alliance, for those who are not insiders like us.
Yes. And so I went to the course, and the teacher, Sandro Alves, he's from Brazil, but he has studio in Chile. And so he said, would you like, after the course, he said, I really like what you're doing. Would you like to be our teacher trainer? And so there was some training involved. So I went and trained with them just to make sure that we, all the teacher trainers are teaching the same stuff. And that's how I started.
Nice. And is that developing nicely?
Yes, it's going really, really well. I have done so far, I think, 5 courses this year, that are like 5 modules. And then I have one more left in November, and I've already committed to doing the same set next year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're covering Pilates mat, all the equipment, everything.
That's a fantastic source of income as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it really helps here.
So if you were to choose, what do you love best teaching just right now? Is it tango, Pilates, or yoga?
Well, actually, I can't choose, and I don't want to choose, because this is what keeps my life interesting, because I'm not doing the same thing every day. This is why I like what I'm doing, because one night I teach tango, and then I teach Pilates. I've also given Finnish lessons here, private lessons, and I've also worked as a tour guide for a company that does tango tours, because I am a people person and it's easy for me to talk about tango. Yeah. And I have good knowledge of the tango bars in Buenos Aires.
So anybody who's going to Buenos Aires, Arja will leave her contact information. You know how to find her, because that's always good to know somebody that you can trust, yes, especially when you travel abroad.
Yes.
Now, with that said, you said to me, based on your lifestyle, because I still keep shaking my head, how you make this work in 3 countries. You said, Heike, the lifestyle chose me.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me about that.
That's, I think, even when I was really little, before I even studied any foreign languages, all that, I wanted to live overseas and kind of get to know other cultures, learn other languages, and I wanted to dance. And so then, of course, as you grow up, you try to gear your life towards that goal. And so you study things that help you for that, and you kind of have a plan.
And your plan was?
My plan was to go overseas, live in another country, maybe not just one, like I've done, and have new challenges, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the title for today's show, What Was I Thinking, came after we prepared for, or during when we prepared for this interview. She said, you know what, sometimes I wake up and I say, what was I thinking?
Yes, of course, because everything is not going to work the way you planned. And so you have days to say, what was I thinking? And then you figure out things. And in the end, it's totally worth it.
See, and that's why I thought it would be so fun to have you on our podcast, because many women feel they're stuck in their life. They're not brave, or they'd rather be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Let's rephrase it. Rather comfortable being uncomfortable, instead of making a choice and choosing what their true needs, wants, and desires are, and saying, okay, I can do this. It may, like you said, it may not always be perfect, or it may not work out exactly at that moment how you thought it would be. But then you overcome that fear and you go, I know, I got this.
Yes, and you end up doing things that you didn't think you could do.
Give me one example.
Well, for example, when I first came here, I had been here a couple times, but I didn't speak Spanish really well. And I had been at the tango school, and they were looking for a substitute yoga teacher. The yoga teacher was going on vacation. And they said, you teach yoga? And I said, yes, I teach yoga. And they said, could you substitute? And I said, yeah, I guess I could. And they said, can you teach in Spanish? And I said, when do you want me to start? And they said, next week. I said, yeah, of course I can. And so then I spent the whole weekend reading the Iyengar yoga poses in Spanish and talking myself through the poses. And so I studied all weekend and working on the language of the poses, how to cue them, all that. And I ended up teaching. And then it really wasn't that bad, even if I didn't have everything right, because you have students and you will ask them, like, what is this part of the body? I don't remember the name of this in Spanish. And they will tell you. Yeah. So it was, yeah. And I didn't think I could do it, but then I always say yes, and then I figure out how to do it.
Now this could be a catch-22 right there. It's like, whoa.
Can be. Yeah. You have to be careful with that.
With that. But I think it's good to just like take the bulls by the horns and say, you know, what's the worst thing that can happen? That, like you said, you don't know a body part. So you muddle through.
Yeah.
That's a good example. That's a great example. Talking about relationships a little bit. I know you said you're single and you don't have children. How do you deal with friends in the different countries when you're gone for so long? Does it influence the relationships? Has somebody, maybe a guy in your life, the man or the woman in your life said, oh, I want you here with me. You don't travel. Stay with me in Argentina forever. Or tell us more about the relationship aspect of your life.
Well, I think as far as relationship, somebody with my lifestyle, we tend to choose people to be with us who understand this kind of a lifestyle, who are not so dependent on us that, you know, you wouldn't be able to travel, go to another country for a month. And so, and with friends, it's actually great, really great, because I have really dear friends in the States, of course, because living there for over 30 years, and then here also, and in Finland. And I get to see all of these people every year.
Yep. That's a nice benefit because I don't do it that often. So I've lost a lot of touch with a lot of my German friends, except for one friend. And I can see the benefit of that. And you're right. You choose people that appreciate your lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah. You choose people that appreciate your lifestyle, and they might even have the same kind of lifestyle. And so, yeah.
What would you say to a woman that might be inspired by your story today and said, I'm going to start out living like Arja? What would you say they need to know to start out with? Let's start with a need to know. What should they consider before they even take the leap?
Well, the method that I use is very simple. First, I have a thought, let's say a dream, like, oh, it would be really nice to do this or live in that location or work, do something different. And then I vocalize it. When I talk to people about it, that's almost a plan. So I talk to friends, I talk to family, I use them as a sounding board. And then you will notice that some people will say, oh, what an amazing idea. I hope you can do it. And then you have some friends who will say, you're absolutely crazy. This is never going to work. Yeah, this is never going to work. And then you do your research. Even though my lifestyle might seem very spontaneous, I'm from Finland, so we are very practical, very organized. So I do a lot of research, especially if you're relocating or you're starting a new business. What do I need to do to get there? It's like, for me, what are the challenges? Language, culture, how do you work here legally, housing, and also, can I actually make a living doing what I do? And so those are very practical things. And then also the economic side, in a sense that when you establish a new business or when you go to a new location, do I have the funds to survive until I start making money?
Good point.
And then you can see if it's a realistic option.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I usually do. And that's what I did before coming here.
Yeah. Good planning, I think, is really important. I mean, we're not au pairs anymore, diving into a country and just say, let's see what happens.
No, we don't do that.
Yeah. What is one of the big obstacles that you could think of that you might have to overcome or overcame in your life up until now to achieve that lifestyle?
Fear. That was the biggest obstacle, I think, because you think about things and then you're like, oh, I don't know if it's going to work, you know. But then also with the age, I can't say that I don't have the fear. It's just that now I do things with fear instead of not doing anything.
Love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's all be fearless.
Yes, yes, because it's totally, in the end, it's totally worth it. Because you can always go back to what you were doing if it doesn't work. That's always been my thinking.
That's a good point. I like that too. It's like, you know what? It's not like you dive in off the deep end and then you can't climb back up.
Yeah, you can climb back up. And also, it's really, really good to have new challenges because it keeps you learning. And, like we said, I'm 62. It's like when we get to the point where we don't want to learn anything, then we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's constantly learning new things.
That's a very good point. So with learning new things, so where's your business with Tango and Pilates going? Where do you see it going? What are your plans for that?
Well, right now, I definitely want to stay with the teacher as a teacher trainer because I really enjoy the work. I have wonderful teachers working with me in the courses. And what I would like to do is spend a little bit more time in Finland and the States. So instead of like just 1 month or month and a half, if I could make it maybe 3 months and teach a little bit more in Finland. And also because as I'm getting older, I have all my family is in Finland. And so I would like to spend more time over there. So that's what I'm thinking about. And Tango, I'm going to continue in the Tango school because I really enjoy the work over there. Teaching is fun. Know that.
As we know, dancing tango is aiding in the prevention of Alzheimer's. A lot of research has shown that dancing, in particular research on tango has shown that because the cognitive skills are challenged and that people are learning better, become better learner, less more aware of their movements and so forth.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So as a final tip, what do you say to the ladies listening? Here's Arja's tip to overcome your fear. What would you say?
For it. And if you have fears, just go for it with fear.
Go for it with fear. I like this. This is a good way to close it up. Stop fear in its tracks and go for it with fears. I love it. Arja, how can people reach you? How can they book a session with you? What are your social media handles?
Probably best one is either Facebook or email.
And
our site is under work right now, so Facebook or email.
Facebook or email. And I put those, and they're both under your name, Arja Pirinen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I put those in the show notes for all of you who do not know how to spell Arja. I didn't know. And I know it because it's with a J. People are saying Arja, I'm sure.
Yeah. Or the Spanish version, Arja.
Oh, there you have it.
Because of the Jota.
There you have it. So I put those links in the show notes, and I want to thank you so much for being here on the show today and sharing your, I think, so different and exciting life with us and with our listeners. And I'm sure I hope to see you on the tango floor or in Buenos Aires one of these days. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. See you next time. Ciao.
Ciao.